JST connectors are very common in the model aircraft hobby, and they're commonly used for power connections. And today I wanted to talk about a polarity issue I found with many of my connectors. So I had purchased a set of 5 or 10 of these male-female JST connector sets, and actually JST is kind of it's a misnomer for this connector. This is made by JST, but it's actually the RCY connector made by JST, but people commonly call them JST because probably they don't know any better. And I think JST probably also makes these white connectors also. So call it what you like, but I'm going to call it the RCY connector. And these are great because they can withdraw and insert many times without failure. The contact design is very solid, very good. Problem I had was the set that was sent to me was noted as random colors or random polarity. And I thought, well, that's fine. I can use some black tape on the red wire to change it to black, and red on the black to change it to red, and okay. Then I got into some trouble. I almost fried one of my transmitters, video transmitters, because the polarity is backwards and I had not checked. So I want to make sure everyone knows what the correct polarity typically is on these. So this one is actually correct. And I've taped it because I went through, after I got this one correct, I went through all of my parts bins where I have these connectors and corrected all of them. Or not corrected, but I am in the process of correcting, and I thought, well, I should share this so maybe it'll help you. So the correct polarity is this. And how do I know this is correct? Well, it's not in a data sheet anywhere. It doesn't seem to be official, but most internet pictures of this connector are wired this way. So with the male plug contacts, if I can get this to focus, yeah, with the contacts up, the polarity is red on the left. And I'm not going to be able to get this to focus better, but oh, there you can see it that way. Okay, so looking into the end with the kind of bumps on the top, the key on the top, that's red on the left. So if you look very closely at this connector, which I'm sure the camera can't probably focus on that, but it does say down here on the connector JST 1 and 2, and 1 is black, 2 is red. And if you go to the mating female connector, the socket, there are also numbers on there and JST, and it's 2 and 1, where 2 is always red on both, 1 is always black. So then I had the realization that almost all of my connectors were reverse polarity, and I didn't want to have any issues. So I've gone through and I've actually removed the pins and sockets, and so I can reinsert them in the correct location. I'll show you how to do that right now. To do this, you'll need something to insert into the female connector, and the way this works is they pull out from the connector backwards, and they are inserted this way. So what I want to do is insert something in here to release the metal clip. And when you look in the end of this connector, you probably won't be able to see in there, but there are actually 2 holes, and I'm holding this with the bumps are on the bottom. There's 2 holes on the bottom under the pins. There's a hole under each pin, and there's a hole above each pin. And to remove this, well, let's remove the I'm going to take this off so I can separate these. I have to pull them out individually. Okay, this is the female socket. This pin, I'm going to insert another pin inside to release a little clip on there, and when I do, I've already done this red one just now, it's going to slip out, and that's what it looks like. And what you're doing is you're releasing a little pin that's on the back, on the kind of on the flat side of this, and I can take a razor knife and raise it back up. So this is ready for insertion again. You can barely see right there, the little barb that I pulled up with the razor knife. So this is ready to be reinserted. So let's take this black one out. And so holding the connector like this, with the key or the bumps downward, I'm actually inserting my pin above the pin that's in there. There's enough of a hole to slip that in just a little bit. Then I'll take pliers and grab on it and give it about an 1/8 of an inch space. And then I'm going to press it in until I feel and hear it click. Okay, it clicked, and that's in there more solidly now. Now, I can hold this so I don't lose my pin, and then I can withdraw the black connector. It's kind of hard to hold this without losing it. Okay, maybe it's not released. Let's do it again. Okay, it's released. And out it comes. So that's how you remove it. Once it's removed, again, you can take your razor knife, come from the wire side or the wire end of the pin, and just gently pry that or bend that little barb back up. Okay, now I'm going to use this good one. And I can see on here black is 1, red is 2, so black is 1. I'm going to find 1 on here. It's on the bottom. With the sockets, the female sockets, probably the easiest way to know which way to orient the pin is there's the square opening, and there's a little bit more of an opening on the top, a little bit of a key. That is where the barb needs to go. So barb on top goes through this little slot on top. That's how the barb gets into the connector without bending down. That one is ready to use. As soon as that metal part disappears, you will feel a click, and it should be seated. Do a pull test, make sure it's not going to come out. This red one I've already done. So same thing. I've got the barb pointing away from the numbers here. Maybe that's a better way to look at it. But the connectors are in there. Should be able to reassemble. And I've got a good connection. So that's how you do that. But what did I use for a pin? Well, I'm sure you could use probably a sewing pin would be fine. I didn't go that route. I have this tool here that I really don't use very often, but it's one of those tools that's just great. This is a pin vise, and this pin vise has a chuck that is very small. It's intended to hold very small drill bits. And these bits, this is a set of bits that came with it, 62, 64, 66, 68, 70, 72. 72 being the smallest. And that's the one I'm using. So just to give you an idea how large this is, that's 72 I believe is 24 thousandths of an inch, so it's very small, and it would probably bend easily. And so I take a lot of care in avoiding bending that. That's why I grip it so close, about 1/8 of an inch or a little less even. And so these little drill bits have been invaluable with this tool, and they will work in the tool. I just don't need to drill a hole right now. I used the rod end to push into the connector. So now hopefully you can check all of your RCY, JST RCY connectors and get the polarity correct with 1 black, 2 red, red always being positive, black being negative in DC. For the plug, the process is a little bit different and a little bit easier. Inside these plugs, there are sockets, metal sockets, instead of the metal pin that we just looked at. These are easy to remove, and all I do is I take a screwdriver that is the width or a little smaller than the slot, and it's a flat blade screwdriver, and I'm going to push down at a shallow angle on the pin. The pin is toward this side, not the pin, the barb is toward this side where you need to press down, not this side of the metal. So I'm going to press down on the left side gently. I'm going to use my index finger to hold this down, and I'm going to pull with my left hand, and I've released the pin, or the socket, and there it is. So again, the socket has that small barb on it, and find it here on the back. We can lift it up just a little bit with the razor knife. Got our barb again. It's ready to be reinserted. Let's do the black. Same process. Not pushing down at all very hard. Find that barb again. And there it is. I'm going to go back to my correct polarity here and just make sure black is 1. So I look on here and I find black is 1. I find this easier because the barb will be coming through the hole. So you just need to have the barb on top, the hole on top. Black is 1. And as you can see, that is a socket. Black is 1. Insert it, it'll clip in and won't come out. Red, same thing. Just make sure the barb is up. If you have the barb in the wrong orientation, it'll probably pull right back out. So those are solid. Let's plug this back together. And that's correct polarity. So that's how you can reverse the polarity of your JST RCY connectors so that you don't fry things like video transmitters, battery eliminator circuits, or other power connections. Hope this helped you out. See you next time.